Hello everyone, and welcome back to another part of Let's Play Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back in Insane Trilogy, where we now move on to the levels of the third warp room, also known as the sewer warp room. So the first level we're going to be doing, of course, is plant food, because I do like to do the levels in order, after the cutscene, of course.
Good show, Crash. The Komodo brothers obviously lacked your mettle. But now's not the time to get cocky. There are still many crystals to obtain. Remember, the world is counting on you.
Okay, so the first level we are going to be doing, of course, is plant food. And personally, I didn't find the Komodo brothers boss too hard at all. In fact, I don't really find any of the bosses in Crash 2 at all that hard anyway, so... Then again, I've probably played the game so many times, it's just become far too easy to me. So anyway, here we go, we're going to do a time trial run, of course, at first. Where we've got to beat the clock to the end of a level. Nearly got sucked into that whirlpool right there, but... Because of course we need to get the yellow gem, which will come in handy for when we do the next level, which is called Sooner or Later. And speaking of level names, I actually like what they've done in Crash 2. Sooner or later, I mean, behaving, you know, it's just... I've always like sort of digged the level names of Crash 2. Anyhow, we're nearly at the end of the level now, to where we can get the yellow gem. Yes, I had 12 seconds remaining, which is not bad at all. So of course what we're going to do as usual is just death warp right back to the beginning of the level. And we are now going to proceed through the level as normal and complete it. That's what I always do. Hopefully not missing the crates this time, because they have been known to do that quite a few times in the past. You know, sometimes I've completed levels in Crash 2 and thought, well, where are these last two crates at then? And it turns out I've missed them in certain areas, especially two crates in the level Unbearable, which you should, which I'll tell you about as soon as we get to that. But which I'm hoping to cover in this part, because as I say, this warp room, just like the last warp room, isn't too long, so we should hopefully be able to get that in. And I've always sort of like been a fan of the jet ski parts of Crash 2. Definitely much better than the vehicle levels in Crash Warped, anyway. And of course, get that checkpoint crate, because many times before I've actually forgotten to break that checkpoint crate, and because I seem to have that habit of breaking all them crates along that sort of like walkway at the side before breaking that checkpoint crate, because then if I die I'd have to do them again, but it's not too often that I die anyway, so that's both gems now collected from the level plant food. Which I am a huge fan of the level designs and the theming of the levels and everything like that about Crash 2. As well as the story, so that's probably the reason why I like Crash Bandicoot 2 the most. Even though I've mentioned this many times before. But Crash 2 is perhaps my favourite video game of all time, so... Of course I'm going to keep mentioning it, but anyway, here's another sewer level. Of which I'm quite a big fan of the sewer levels myself. Although as a kid, I always like sort of struggled with the electric water, the electric eels. Although I will say that I'm not as much of a fan anymore of the water. The water did look a lot more scary in the original. And trust me to just get hurt there. So of course we're going to go down into the gem path right here. Which was actually one of the levels, sooner or later, that was demonstrated in demo videos. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm just going to die and death walk back to the beginning, because it makes more sense than doing the level twice. So, and I think this is my favourite sewer level out of the three, if I'm not mistaken. Although I do love all the sewer levels, in fact I love all the levels in Crash Bandicoot 2, so I think the only level that I'm not really super fond of is the level, what is it? Oh gosh. I mix the two up, it's behaving and digging. It's digging it. Digging it, that's the one. I'm digging it, boy. But I'm not for that level, if you get me, because the backtracking in this level, no. And having to do the death route as well. But anyhow, we're not doing this part till the next, we're not doing that level till the next part anyway, so I won't worry about that as of yet, so. So I'm hoping to get this video uploaded on the day I'm actually recording it, which is today, so. Because I'm planning on uploading the next part of Let's Play Spyro 2 Reignited on possibly the Saturday that I recorded last night with Noel, which is a pretty good collaboration and quite enjoyed that. So, and Aquaria Towers is my favourite summer forest level of Spyro 2, so. Speaking of favourite worlds and levels in Crash Bandicoot 2, I think my favourites really are probably the ruin levels. However, favourite world, it was the fourth warp room, which I believe is known as the mountain warp room, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got invincibility right here, which will come in super handy, but we've got to backtrack a long way with it, so we're not exactly going to get that much advantage of it, but I think my new favourite warp room now is probably the second warp room, the snow warp room, in Insane Trilogy, because they seem to have ruined the fourth warp room in Insane with the way the controls are. I mean, it doesn't seem super apparent in the other worlds, but and the other games, but in Crash 2, which just happens to be my favourite game. I'm not critiquing the game, by the way. I'll just tell you that. So, because I still love it, but I much prefer Crash 2 in the original. Whereas they seem to have sort of oh, hang on, cutscene.
Crash, thank goodness! I hacked into Cortex's computer and found detailed schematics for an improved Cortex Vortex and a suspicious-looking space station. I'm not sure, but Cortex might be trying to...
Okay, so the next level we're going to do is Bear Down. But as I say, I'm not critiquing the game at all. It's just, I much prefer Crash 2 in the original, whereas in the other two Crash games, Crash 1 and Crash 3, they do sort of seem to have improved on things a little bit, which is quite a nice thing in my opinion. Now I will say one thing about these polar levels as opposed to in the original game. They do seem a little bit easier, even though the jumps are harder, to break the crates, so you seem to have to be more precise in the original game. And I just missed one right there, but As I say, the controls do seem sort of like a little bit more laggy in Insane for the controlling Polar. Although I've always been sort of like a bit of a sucker for Polar. I used to play him as him a lot in Crash Team Racing as a kid. But the nice thing about Polar in Crash Team Racing is the handling. And you have to get the timing just precise, because I'm sure that normally goes down but I charged, but so obviously it didn't go down like that. I say charging does throw things off, so trying to avoid charging in these Polar levels does help quite a lot. But I definitely like what they've done with that sort of the lighting in this level. We did it in the original game as well. This is sort of like at sunset, with the red sky creating the lighting effects, which is quite a nice effect in my opinion. So we're not going to go through the normal exit, because if you go on these stones right here and jump across to this platform here, it's another secret exit, which will now take us back to the level Air Crash. And of course it's doing his Crash Victory dance, which I've always loved. So here we go, we're jumping back into Air Crash, where we can collect that other gem for all the crates through the secondary entrance. So I'm just going to try this, see if I can jump and get all of those. Yes. Can I get back? No. Oh no. But that was much easier to do in the original game. Even though I don't really need the lives, I just keep trying it every single time anyway. And I also find it pretty interesting that they've used the Death Route music for the secondary entrances, like in this one and Snow Go and Road to Ruin. So here we are, we're now back at the start of the level, pretty much anyway. So now we've just got to go through Air Crash and complete that. So we are kind of backtracking now to the second warp room, but only for one level anyway. As I say, this warp room isn't too long, so it's not going to hurt to put it in. I'd say the longest warp room in the game by far is definitely the fourth one, because it's long, tricky levels. There are going to be a lot of deaths in it. There's probably going to be pain and frustration in the level digging it with the death route, so I've just got to wait for this platform to pop back up right here. Yes. Oh, what the heck. I usually like to just, for a bit of challenge, bounce along these crates right here, instead of triggering all these exclamation triggers, so. And now you can slide on top of TNT crates, which is something you could not do in the original game. So that's quite an interesting twist that they've put that in, because they have changed one or two mechanics like I've said before, some for the better, and some are kind of like, I'd say not worse, but kind of different, you know what I mean, the way they make it feel. But anyhow, we're now back on the correct path for getting the gem, so. As you can probably see right here, the Death Route platform is now gone, because at the start of the level, as you probably remember, I died trying to bounce on all these bouncy crates, so. To get them 3 lives. Which didn't work. It kind of worked, but I suppose I got 2 of them. Now, did I get the checkpoint? Yes, I did. Because I always seem to have a bad habit of missing checkpoints in these backtrack sections. Although that is one thing I love about Crash 2, is the backtracking doesn't seem to be as much of a problem anymore, so... Oh no! No way. No way I just messed up and did that. So now I've got to die to go back for that crate that I missed, because I accidentally charged too much and jumped over that wall, so... Although it shouldn't be a problem to go back and get it, because, I say, there's only these crates to get right here. So just get these 2 crates here. Hang on. Oh no. So I've got to time this correctly, otherwise I'm going to go into them bombs. Oh gosh. Right, okay. Here we go. That's the final crate, yes. So that is the level fully completed now, so... We can now move on to doing the levels back in the 3rd warp room, so... So now we are going to move on to doing a ruin level, which, as I've said before, ruin levels are my fave in Crash 2. Yeah, so here we go. I'm gonna do that one. Oh, you know, I might actually switch to Coco for this. I don't know why, I just sort of fancy playing as Coco in the ruin levels. I seem to think that she seems to look kind of cool and stand out in the ruin levels, so... Why not have a switch? And I've always kind of liked Coco as a character as well, so... I definitely like with the way that they made a control in the original, let's say, in the trilogy as well. Like in Crash Warped, she now controls just like Crash when you're about to mount Pura, so... Although I do not need to get all the crates this time around, all I need to do is not die up to this point, because then I can do the death route. Because there is a secondary exit that you can do in, you know what I mean, later on, which you enter from that level again, digging it. So... As for now, we're just going to do the death room. And the music does seem pretty different in the... I nearly said reignited again. Oh my god. Why do I keep saying reignited and mixing Insane up? But... Anyway. Huge fan of ruin levels, but the music seems to have a different atmosphere in Insane Trilogy. It seems to be like sort of like a more quiet and peaceful sort of like atmosphere it gives the level now. I probably like the ruin levels as well because I am a fan of night levels, so that is that. That is the clear gem completed, so now we just need to make our way through the rest of the level. And we don't need to bother with the bonus round, because we are going to be doing that in the next part anyway, and it'll only make this part too long, so... Oh, and a new update's installed for Gran Turismo Sport, so... Because I do play quite a lot of racing games as well. I do have a gaming chair and a wheel, so that's something that I play as well quite a lot of the time. I might make a video on that as well sometime, so... If anybody is interested in seeing that. I might play some simulation games, let's say like Gran Turismo Sport, Gran Turismo 6, that sort of thing. And I might also play some arcade racing titles like Daytona USA and Sega Rally and stuff like that, which I can also load through an emulator, or I've got some on my PlayStation 3 as well, so that's where I play as well as these games. So here we go, we are now going on to, I'll just swap back for now, Unbearable, which is another chase level. But this chase level is very different, because this time you are not chased by a boulder. But you are chased by a giant polar bear. Which seems to have changed its appearance and looks a bit. It seems to look more funny. More like a comedy polar bear now. Whereas it seemed to look a lot more scary in the original game. But either way, it still sort of kind of looks angry, so... Suppose that is that. Oh yes, and this is the bridge. This bridge is totally different. So, I'll get the checkpoint. I'll get it now. It don't matter because I'm probably not going to die anyway because I've probably played this game so much. You know, determination. I've been a Crash player like all my life, so... Hey, we've got invincibility. Now this is something I've always wondered. Obviously you can't do it. But I've wondered what will happen if you have invincibility during a chase section. Or do you get hit by, let's say, the boulder or the bear or something like that, or the Triceratops? That is actually a very interesting question. Do you die? Do you still get crushed? And they're the two crates that I always keep missing because the camera was a bit lower in the original game, so I always used to keep missing them two crates, and I'm like, where are them two crates from Unbearable? I can't get 100%. I used to 100% the game, but I used to miss these two crates from Unbearable. And as it turned out, they were here. Okay, so... Invincibility, which we're unfortunately going to lose. Anyway. Oh! No way. No way. Can I make it to the, Can I make it to the chase section to see what happens? Can I? Can I make it to the chase section? What happens if you get got with this? Oh, wow. Oh, I found out now. That's what happens. You still die. I know I might have sounded a bit excited there, but I've always kind of like wondered what will happen if you have invincibility during the chase section and you get struck, so... Now I've found out. Thanks to Sane letting me do that, so... Turns out if you're got invincibility or not, you're still going to die, so... I don't know if that was a glitch, was that meant to happen? I know you can still ride platforms with invincibility now, which you couldn't do in the original game, but... But now I've found out what you can do, so... I'm actually I'm so totally like shook about this, to be honest, because I never knew what would happen if you had invincibility during a chase section. So that... Oh no, I died, really? So that's kind of like made my whole day, because I've actually wanted to know for years what will happen if you have invincibility during the chase section, so... And I've probably repeated myself about 20 times over now, but... It just goes to show how excited I am, you know, for what's just happened, so... But anyway, we're coming up to the final chase section now, which is where you ride Polar. And that bear, we're pretty close this time, so... Anyway, here goes the last Polar chase section. Which says now we've got all of the crates, yep, that's correct. However, there is a secret, which I'll show you in a minute. So we're going to, of course, get the gem, which I've sometimes forgot to do because I've always like gone back to this area over here before and forgot the gem altogether, but we've actually gone back and got the gem this time. So what you do is you jump over here, do a slide spin jump, that's what I always do. And then you just jump in front of Polar right here, and it takes you off to a secret level. Of which we are not going to do right now. We're going to do that in a later on part. You know, so we haven't got two less parts in this, but we haven't got two longer parts at the same time, so I thought, why not do that? So that's Unbearable completed, so now we're going to move on to doing the the boss, which is of course Tiny Tiger.
Crash, my boy. You are more than halfway there. But I'm sure you've noticed that things are getting harder. The last 10 crystals will be the hardest to gather, and our enemies will be sending their strongest forces to thwart you. I'll contact you again when you have completed the next warp room.
And I find it pretty interesting as well that you now get these cutscenes in the bonus warp room, the secret warp room, which was something that never happened in the original game. So here we are. And I find it also interesting as well that they blank off all the portals until you've completed the boss. I don't think they did that at all in the original game. I don't think so anyway, so here we go, Tiny Tiger. Of which for some reason I've always preferred the Tiny Tiger boss in Cortex Strikes Back as opposed to Warped. Of course I like the boss in Crash Warped as well, you know, sort of like in the Colosseum. And I definitely like the ending to it as well, with that pelting him with tomatoes when he loses. That's quality, that. But I find this one a lot harder and more challenging, and it seems to be like more fun at the same time as well, so this is definitely some advantage anyway. But then again, at the same time, I don't like things too hard, because I mean, as I say, I just don't see the point in putting a game on, let's say, a too hard a difficulty, because you just can't enjoy it if you're like going to keep dying all over and you can't really progress. So that's one thing I've never really got with serious gamers. I know you get lots of people like going, you're a casual gamer, you're not really like sort of like into it sort of thing, but it doesn't really matter how good you are at games so long as you like really enjoy it. You know what I mean? That's all what matters. But anyway, this has been Tiny Tiger defeated, as well as the whole third warp room completed as well. So I believe this concludes part 4. So now we can move on to the 4th warp room, which is also known as the mountain warp room, which we'll be doing in the next part, of course. So I'm going to save my progress right now. I'll just check my recording's still recording, because I don't want the part not to have recorded and me save the game and have to play all the way back up to here again. But thankfully it has recorded, so that's one thing. So then, thank you so much for watching this part. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will indeed see you in the next part where we cover this warp room, which will probably be in 2 parts because it's long. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you around in the next one.